Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Israel. I'm here with Brian and Vince. This is the very first episode of Metal Swap Talk. Metal Swap Talk, what is this about? Well, we're a show dedicated to the local heavy metal scene here in San Diego. Not only in San Diego, but also regionally, including Tijuana, Mexicali, Los Angeles as well, our neighbors. And we're going to try to get international as well, right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, try to mix it up a little bit. We're going to be talking about some really cool stuff that's coming up, preferably with the Metal Swap Meet that's coming up this year. We got our 10th anniversary, which we're really stoked about. We're also going to talk about albums. New Possessed is out, guys. I'm stoked about it. I don't know about you guys, but we're going to talk about that. Revelations of Oblivion, which is just out on Nuclear Blast. We're going to talk a lot about that album. Mm-hmm. Amazing thing. Lots of shows coming to the area, especially June, July. A lot of good stuff coming our way. So I think we're really excited about that. News on the Metal Swap Meet. We got a lot of plans this year. I think we're going to try to do it up. We're going to try to get really focused on that, and we'll talk to you guys about that. Who are we? A bit about ourselves. We're going to talk a little bit about what we did, what we've done, what we plan to do with this. We have some interviews that are coming your way as well. We're going to take advantage of the fact that we are in the craft beer capital of the world, I think. We've done some interviews. We're going to talk this time with our good friend Jason Carlson from Ballast Point at Homebrew Mart. So you'll get a little taste of that. And, we're going to do plenty of stuff with this. We hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll take it over.
Okay. This is the song Demon. I like the high notes he's hitting. A little Slayerish right there.
Yeah.
All right, reaction so far?
Pretty good.
That sounds good.
Yeah. It's a little slightly different from the other songs, which is great. I like the breakdown. It's pretty cool. Like you said, it's kind of Slayerish, which is pretty rad. So far so good.
All right, let's keep it going. All right. It's kind of going through a lot of tempo changes, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's sounding very classic thrash with better production.
Well, it's a lot better production, I think. But yeah, definitely. I like it because it does have those tempo changes. I think people will enjoy that quite a bit. Yes, the production itself definitely very clean, very very modern sounding, but the old school feel is there, especially with the riffing. I enjoy the riffing quite a bit. So
V?
I think it has a lot of that old feeling to it, and even though the recording is kind of more modern, you can hear everything really clear, it still has that old vibe to it, which I really like.
It really does. All right, let's keep it going. Pick slide. There we go.
Maybe even a little Celtic Frost influence a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking this is definitely the thrashiest song so far on the album.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot of death metal riffing. It's very down-picky, fast, a lot of tempo changes.
Mm-hmm.
I hear Exodus is pretty obvious, and then a little Destruction sounding.
Well, I thought it had some death metal influences for sure, and maybe a little Old Death or even Possessed, and wasn't just all out speed metal. It was a little bit heavier and melodic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it definitely one of the more melodic songs off the album, and I think it does throw a lot of that Bay Area influence and maybe kind of like old Death, you know, a little Chuck in there, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I kind of hear it a little bit. Yeah, especially with the breakdowns there.
All right, let's keep it going. Pretty savage vocals so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that they have some effects and stuff on the vocals too.
Mm-hmm.
Not so dry sounding.
Yeah. Bass solo? Hell yeah. Wow.
Right? I wasn't expecting that.
That was
at
killer.
all. Cool.
Good job, Bobby. Love the dueling solos.
Yeah, I dig the vocals a lot there.
Oh, that was great.
Cool. That was good.
All right. What'd you guys think? And overall, what about the tones, Vince?
It's got a great production and everything's really clear, heavy, but you can hear all the notes, you can hear the bass, you can hear all the drum fills. I mean, I can't say anything negative about it at all.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like they did really good work with the production. It's always, I guess that's the biggest challenge when it comes to recording albums. I mean, I know that Vince probably knows more about this than I do, but it is one of those things where you want to get the levels on everything just right, and especially the drums and the guitars sound really, really well in this album. Bass solo, I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then the vocals, nice effects. They do sound fairly brutal.
But everything has a kind of natural sound to it,
Right.
kind of live almost, and doesn't sound fake or mechanicalized or.
Yeah, and then this part, I guess it was mixed and mastered by Peter Taggart from Hypocrisy, which definitely makes a difference. The guy's legendary for his productions and for mixing, mastering, and all that, which definitely makes a difference. And the musicianship of these guys, it clearly comes through on the mix and on the album, which it's pretty good so far.
Yeah. No
I think it
complaints.
took a long time of preparing and recording on it, but I think they did it well.
Yeah, it only took 30 years. So. Hope we don't have to wait another 30 years for the next album.
Right. Yeah, I think Jeff has hit it out of the ballpark with this one. Definitely get himself together with these fine musicians. Daniel Gonzalez from Gruesome, a great guitar player. Claudia Screamer from Dragon Lord, who was part of the Testament crew with Eric Peterson. You got Robert Cardenas, who's from Agent Steel. Coffin Text, amazing death metal band, and Emilio Marquez. You can't go wrong with that guy. Sadistic Intent, Brujeria, Asesino. Behind the drum kit, it definitely is. It's you could call it a super group, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah. Especially for an American band.
Yeah, and it's
top notch.
And it's it's a great release. I'm glad that Nuclear Blast had the wherewithal to pick these guys up and put this album out. It's only been out a couple weeks. Pick it up if you can, because it's a good one.
Yeah, pick it up.
Pick it up.
Get it.
Get it. All right, great. Possessed, Revelations of Oblivion. What do we think, guys?
Good.
Parker. Good.
Yeah,
very
good
good
album.
Definitely a great album. On our rating from 1 to 5, 5 upside down crosses meaning the best. What do you give it, Parker?
I give it 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5. Great. Yeah. Vince?
I think I'd give it a 4 out of 5 as well. It's pretty solid. Good production. Good musicians.
Definitely on the same track as you guys. I think a 4 out of 5 works perfectly for this type of band. Definitely 30 years was too long, but I think they have come up with a great album. Probably one of the top ones for this year so far, 2019. It's out now on Nuclear Blast Records. If you have a chance, pick it up for sure. It came out a couple weeks ago, so definitely pick it up. From what I understand, number 17 on the Billboard charts, indie charts from what I gather. So it's picking up a lot of steam, and they're heading out to Europe here in a few days, starting out London, and they're going through pretty much the month of June, which is awesome for those guys. And we can't say enough. Mexico Metal Fest, they just got confirmed for that as well on November 30th, which I'll be out there, wreaking havoc. We'll see what happens. But highlights of the album, favorite song.
The Demon song was pretty awesome.
Demon song, yeah. Vince?
I can't really pick one in particular. They all were pretty solid and had some good riffing, and especially the drums and the vocals I liked a lot.
I think it's one of those albums that kind of doesn't have a high up and down kind of thing. They're all kind of similar in the same way, but they're all high up on the bar when it comes to musicianship, and when it comes to the recording. You can't really complain about it. It's a high quality album. My favorite track, the first track, No More Room in Hell, I think for me, kind of highlights the musicianship of all the guys, and the vocals there are just great from Jeff. So if you have a chance, definitely pick this up. Recommended by us. 4 out of 5. I think it's good, right?
Yep.
Cool. Well, we'll see what comes up next.
All
right. So we have plenty of upcoming shows here in San Diego and the local area. So far, June's pretty filled up. Lots of July shows. A lot of interesting stuff. A lot of weird mixes of metal shows and other ones. We start off with June 7th at the Soda Bar. Max Sabbath. What an interesting concept, huh? Bunch of dudes wearing costumes.
McDonald's costumes.
Yes, McDonald costumes, and playing Black Sabbath songs with a twist, right? From what I understand.
I think they got slightly different lyrics.
Right.
Yeah, like Frying Pan, it's Iron Man.
Right. So it's a from what I've heard, it's a great band to catch live. Very entertaining. So if you have the time, June 7th at the Soda Bar, Max Sabbath, along with a few other bands, definitely an entertaining thing to check out on at the Soda Bar, which I haven't been to in a long time. And from what I hear, they've done a lot of improvements at that place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cool. Next up, we have June 9th, a couple days after that, Lecherous Nocturne. Great death metal band playing at the Space Bar right down the street from us there. If you want to check that out, a couple other death metal bands playing on that bill. Brutal Death Metal is the name, and Lecherous Nocturne is your game. June 14th, Flotsam and Jetsam, going old school. They're coming back to Brick by Brick. They seem to like that place. They seem to be here quite often, right?
Played there a lot of times. Yeah.
Yeah. So a legendary band. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, definitely check them out. Old school thrash with a mix of a little progressive and really good stuff. I've thoroughly enjoyed Flotsam and Jetsam throughout the years. How about you, Vince?
I'm not really too familiar with them. I've never seen them.
Well, now's your chance. June 14th at Break by Break. Check them out. June 22nd, Invocation Spells coming from Chile. Old school death metal band at the Till 2 Club. It's going to be a cozy night there for those guys. And June 26th, a big one coming to Petco Park. A new addition to the park. I hear there's a big stage there now. They're trying to bring in more big name bands. And Coheed and Cambria's coming. They haven't been here in a while. And Mastodon, which I'm really excited about.
It's a new outdoor venue, right?
Correct. Yeah. I hear it.
I think its capacity is like 2,000 people.
Great. So it should be a good show. I'm a big fan of Mastodon. I Crack the Sky is one of my favorite albums of all times. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, it's good.
Good album. Definitely one thing to check out if you're downtown Petco Park, a beautiful baseball stadium, and now getting into the music area. July 20th, once we're heading out into July, we have the Tecate Summer Metal Fest, and Vince is going to be playing that with Necker Chamber.
We'll be playing that one.
That's your guys' first time out there, right?
Yeah, this will be our first show down in Mexico. We're really looking forward to it. Some good bands playing, some local bands, international bands, so it should be good.
Right. Crucimentum from England's playing that show. Mortuary is coming up from Monterrey, Mexico. We have a lot of cool local bands from the area here, like Temblad. From Tijuana, we have our buddies from Infernal Conjuration that are playing as well. Some bands from Ensenada, some from Mexicali. It's outdoors. They have a lot of beer tents there, a lot of food. From what I hear, it's a really good time. So if you want to head south of the border and enjoy yourself in Tecate, which Brian is really familiar with. You're from that area, right?
Yeah, I lived there for 2 years.
Cool, man. Yeah. So head out there. July 20th, Tecate Summer Metal Fest. July 29th, Decrepit Birth at Brick by Brick. Decrepit Birth, a really, really old school band up from Ventura County, and those guys are always amazing to catch live. Really enjoy those guys. So if you're down at Brick by Brick, definitely check those guys out. And August 3rd, also at Brick by Brick, we have Holy Grail. One of the newer bands in the scene, I think, in the last few years that's been really making a lot of noise. I'm not too familiar with them. I don't know if you guys are.
I just know they're like pretty good power metal band.
Okay, well, if you're into that, check them out. Let's see what else we got. Wow, Psycho Las Vegas. One of those festivals that has really grown in the last few years, right? August 16th through the 18th at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. This time around is being headlined by Megadeth, Opeth, and Electric Wizard, plus a whole slew of bands, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty huge fest.
Yeah, it's insane how big that's gotten. So I know that a couple of years ago they had King Diamond headline. They had Neurosis play, which is one of those rare things nowadays that Neurosis actually shows up to and plays a festival. But Psycho Las Vegas, if you have the time to get out there, August 16th through the 18th at Mandalay Bay, really, really awesome festival. A lot of doom and stoner bands, which is really huge these days.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, that lineup.
Definitely all over the place. One of the more eclectic metal festivals that are out there this summer. August 19th, one of those bands that is playing Psycho Las Vegas is Rotting Christ, and they're coming down to San Diego.
Yeah,
I think so. One of their exclusive shows, correct?
Right. Yeah, I think that's. I think they're only playing a couple of shows in the U.S. This year, and Psycho Las Vegas is one, and one of the other ones is Brick by Brick. One of those bands that I really, really enjoy catching every time they come into town. They have a new album out called The Heretics. I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah, it's a great album, yeah.
Really great album. Recommend it out there. And if you have a chance, please come out to Running Christ. I believe it's on Monday, but it's okay. Don't be afraid of Mondays. Metal Monday, right?
Right.
It's going to be good.
I'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, we're all big Running Christ fans. Have you heard the last one?
I haven't yet.
You haven't yet? No. Definitely take a look at it.
All right.
But it's a really phenomenal album. Those guys only get better with time. And August 9th, we also have Master. Wow. Master. We haven't, I think the last time they were here was at Jumping Turtle. wow, what, 6-7 years ago, maybe something like that, right? At least the last time I saw him. Master all the way from the Czech Republic coming down. They have a show at Brick by Brick August 9th. I believe they have another show either before or after in Tijuana. I'm not quite sure when, but it is one of those shows that we're looking forward to definitely. If you have shows that you'd like us to check out, send them our way at SD Metal Swap Meet. But Jesus, June, July, and part of August are going to be pretty packed when it comes to shows in our area. And I'm sure there's lots of other stuff that's coming for September and October that have been recently confirmed that we'll be getting into. And some of these shows we'll be at. You know, we'll try to do some coverage of that and trying to talk to some of the bands, some of the fans as well. I think it's a big part of it. We'll talk to some of the fans, some of the bands, some of the promoters, and fortunately the metal scene in San Diego keeps growing. And I don't know what you guys think, but
it's terrible.
Yes, we don't have enough shows here, right? No, it's growing quite a bit, and you know where it goes, who knows? But we'll try to be there as much as possible as we can, and you know, with everything else, we'll keep it going. All right. So we want to give you guys a little background about ourselves, since maybe some of you know us, some of you don't. We'll start with myself. Israel. I've been listening to metal for close to 20-something years now. I think I'm one of the guys who works for the Metal Swap Meet, one of the organizers. I'm in a couple of bands, a couple of cover bands. I've done bands left and right here and there throughout the years. But nowadays I kind of stick to the cover bands. It's a little easier, a little less stressful. I go to shows as often as I can. Definitely, I think metal is my favorite music, that's for sure. And now we're starting this. We kind of like, trying something new. And for myself, it's the first time we try anything like this. So, I'm just really glad to be hanging out with these guys who've been my friends for a very long time. And we're kind of trying something new. As far as where this is going to take us, I think, we've been trying to support this scene for a long time, each of us in our own little way. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a new incarnation of what we can do to support the local scene, as well as trying to expose some of the folks from the outside world who might not be familiar with San Diego about what we have to offer as far as our scene goes, and then kind of explore, out of town to see what we have down in Mexico, maybe shoot up to LA a few times, go east a little bit, and try to bring some of that international flavor with us to this whole thing. But that's enough about me. What's up, Parker?
My name's Brian. I've been into metal since a pretty young age, listening to records my dad would play. Then got hired at Blue Meanie Records. That helped me get more into metal. Started a website called sdmetal.org with my friend Jared. And organizer of the Metal Swap Meet as well. And then, now doing this thing. And that's about it.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Vince?
Yeah, I've been a musician for most of my life, playing organs and keyboards, guitars, bass, drums, pretty much all the kinds of metal stuff, and grew up with my family listening to the hard rock and heavy metal and, of course, classic rock and stuff like that, and played in a few different bands, and also went to school for recording as a sound engineer, and just always just been a fan of music in general, not just metal. And I like people being creative and supporting our artists, no matter what, if it's music or tattooing or artwork or whatever they're into. And that's about it.
Cool. Great.
And what do you guys envision us doing with this project?
I think mostly pushing what metal is in our area. I think personally, the metal has given me so much back that I can't see. I don't have any other way to kind of give back to metal that it's giving me. I've been lucky enough to be able to travel all over the world because of heavy metal. I've been a roadie for bands doing tours in the U.S. and Mexico, and I think for me it's given a little bit back to the community that kind of help shape the way I view the world. So I think for me, I want to make it to where it showcases what we have here in our city, which I don't think San Diego is known primarily as a heavy metal haven, but I think it can be, and we have a lot of talent here, and I think it's kind of cool to be able to showcase some of that and show what we have here, music wise, and kind of like the culture of the city, with what we want to do with the breweries and all kinds of other stuff with artists and stuff like that, like tattoo artists that we all have friends who are tattoo artists, the whole culture of the city, which kind of makes for an interesting place to live and a place that kind of is a burgeoning metal scene.
Yeah, we get quite a few shows here, and a lot of bands stop here on their way to LA or coming from LA going back east, and sometimes we get a lot of exclusive shows here as well, and trying to support that and let you guys know about it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. All right. Yeah. Thanks everybody for checking out our first episode, and we hope you're enjoying it. Thanks. Okay. Before the Dark Funeral show, me and Vince headed out to Ballast Point Homebrew Mart to pregame a little bit, and we talked to Jason Carlson, one of the brewers over there, and also a fellow metalhead. And so we're going to play for you our interview with him. All right, this is Brian and Vince with Metal Swap Meet at Homebrew Mart in Linda Vista. Talking to brewer Jason Carlson of Ballast Point. Thanks for being on with us. I appreciate it. Jason, we have a couple questions for you. Where are you from, and how long have you worked here?
I'm here from San Diego, born and raised, and I've actually only worked here at Ballast Point for a couple years, but I've been a customer here for a long time, drinking beers and getting brewing stuff, so been here a couple years, and I freaking love it.
Awesome, appreciate that. How and when did Homebrew Mart start, and do you know when it opened?
Yeah, so this is the original location for Ballast Point. It started in '92 as Homebrew Mart, which still operates as Homebrew Mart right now. With all the brewing supplies and all that stuff, we still do all that stuff and cater to all the homebrewers in San Diego. Which is cool because right now everyone's into beer, so I mean everyone's brewing beer right now. So we're happy to help everyone out. And '92, that's when it started. And then '96 is actually when Ballast Point, it all became Ballast Point. Just started brewing beer in the back, and started developing all kinds of these recipes. And '96 they opened up as Ballast Point, operating in the same building. So you kind of had two different things going on, Homebrew Mart and Ballast Point.
The original location.
This is the original location. Haven't moved. We kind of moved over a little bit, as business expanded as some of the businesses were kind of closing. We took over those buildings and kind of made it bigger. Now we got a huge tap room here, 36 beers on tap, which is really cool. It wasn't like that a few years ago. Just a small little tap room on the other side. You can, only a few beers. You couldn't get that much, but now you got a whole massive tap room here. And like I said, 38 beers on tap with some Homebrew Mart exclusive beers. So you still kind of keep it real on the homebrew side and do a lot of small batch stuff. We have 5-gallon recipes that we put up, classic homebrew style. And we have a 1-barrel system in the back that gets us just only 2 15-gallon kegs, So what we brew here stays here. So our tap list is a little more unique than the other ones, kind of keep it real on the homebrew side.
I appreciate that, Jason. Jason, do you know how many beers Ballast Point has in total?
I'm not really sure.
You got like a guess? 500?
I mean, geez, if you're going to count like all the R&D stuff, probably like 500 beers, yeah.
Yeah. How many locations does Ballast Point have now?
Right now, San Diego, this location, the original. Unfortunately, we had to close down Scripps Ranch a few months ago. That was something kind of in the works for a little while. But we have Miramar opened up just up the street. So that's kind of where everything went to. This is our production facility. Huge restaurant. It's awesome. Maybe you should go check it out. In downtown Little Italy, we have that location. That's our third location in San Diego. Another cool restaurant over there. Great beers on tap over there as well. Yeah, totally, yeah. Of course, all the classic Ballast Point beers. Can't get home Brew Mart beers over there, though.
Nice, sounds good. Do you guys at Home Brew Mart supply any brewing supplies for other breweries?
Yeah, actually, we are a home brew mart, so we mainly cater to home brewers, and a lot of the equipment we have is catered to that. But we do have a lot of breweries coming in here for certain things, maybe some last-minute ingredients, or need us to order them some parts for whatever they're doing. We're always more than happy to do that. Right now, down in Mexico, there's a huge brewing scene popping up over there.
I got a lot of craft beers down there coming up too.
Yeah, they come over here quite often and grab a bunch of supplies from us. So on the daily, really, they come up here. Just bags of grains, lots of hops, yeast, any kind of supplies they need. It's a little different down there as far as what they're capable of doing brewing-wise, but they make it work, and it's fun to hear their stories on how they're making it all work,
I'm looking forward to trying to see what they have going down there. They have a lot of new stuff coming out.
Yeah, they're popping up all over the place too. It's they're all starting from scratch. It takes a second to get everything going, but yeah, they're starting to come out some good beers down there.
I'm kind of curious about what kind of yeast you guys use. Do you guys use one strain of yeast, or you guys use a lot of different yeast for the beers that you brew?
For mine specifically, and what we do here, we do kind of change it up sometimes, but we have our house yeast, whether it's our White Labs is the yeast we pretty much use all the time, whether it's the California Ale yeast, which is pretty classic, or the California Kolsch, or excuse me, that's the name of one of our beers, the German Kolsch yeast. We sift between those two, but we do yeast starters over here and try, propagate some yeast strains and save them and harvest yeast and try and get a few things going on. But you also got to plan your brews around that as well. So we are limited to how much we can brew here. So once we get our fermenters all filled up, it's kind of like, you got to plan it all out. As far as, Ballast Point, they use those same two yeast strains, a few other ones, to try and change it up. So,
okay.
Yeah.
As far as this location goes, and the tap list is pretty extensive, what can you get at this certain location that you can't get anywhere else?
Okay, so their Home Brew Mart exclusive beers is a really good one. We have 4 of them up. We generally try and keep 4 of them up at one time. We only have 36 taps here, so we can't take up too much space. So you need to put the other Ballast Point stuff. But we try and keep 4 up. Right now we got a really good hazy IPA, really good Maibach. It's Maibach May right now, so all the Maibachs are coming out, the German Maibachs. Of course, it's my beer, so I'm promoting it, and I teach brewing classes on the Grainfather all-electric brewing system, so we get...
All right, you guys have that here at the Home Brew Mart?
Yeah, so we have it here for sale. We also brew with it over here. I love it. And all the beers come out super great. We throw them on tap because they taste really good and professional. So I have a really, really good pale ale up right now, hoppy pale ale, from our homebrew recipe book in the back.
That's what I was just trying to.
Yeah. So that's actually a recipe in a book you can get and brew yourself. So yeah, we have a book of all kinds of recipes. We try and brew beers out of that and throw them on tap, so you can taste them and brew them, And we got a sour up too. That's really good.
Appreciate that. What do you think is the most popular Ballast Point beer?
It's the Grapefruit Sculpin.
Grapefruit Sculpin.
Grapefruit Sculpin. There's no other beer that compares to that right now. It's just that thing sells so much. It's unreal. It's good though. I like it. But yeah, it's the Grapefruit Sculpin, pretty much.
All right, thanks again, Jason. Ballast Point uses local art for all of your labels and such. Can you elaborate a little bit on that, please?
Yeah, so our artwork, at least the majority, like 99.9% of it, is all done by Paul Elder, all right? Local guy. He's been doing it since day one. He's still with us. And actually, if you come down to Homebrew Mart, especially during like the daytime, you most likely will run into him. He was here earlier today. If he's not down in Mexico vacationing, then he's hanging out here having some pints.
Yeah,
so he's
going fishing. Is that what I was
he goes fishing fishing out in Mexico. Yeah.
Is he a fan of craft beer as well?
Yeah, he is. He drinks drink like some Fathoms or the new one, the Swinging Friar. That one just came out. It's a pretty good one. It's actually been my go-to beer right now is the Swinging Friar. But no, Paul's cool, man. He's in here all the time. I love hanging out with him. Went out to lunch with him a few days ago. He's just a really cool guy. He's been doing our artwork for a long time. Yeah, actually, it's funny. Like,
good artwork.
yeah, it's cool. And when you see like his earlier stuff, and then you compare it to, you see it, through the years, you see his newer stuff. You definitely have like kind of like growing with him, and seeing his artwork evolve, and just getting detailed, and it's just really good.
Can you elaborate a little bit about the Swing Friar Ale and what that's about?
Yeah, so actually, we just came out with that one like a month ago. It's a collaboration with the San Diego Padres. All right. Yeah, that's right, San Diego Padres. And they wanted an official craft beer, the San Diego Padres. So since we've been sponsoring the Padres for quite a few years now, yeah, why not make one? So they actually had the Friar come down over to Miramar and throw in hops and stuff like that. It's, promotional thing. And came out with the Swinging Friar Pale Ale, 5.5%. Uses all Simcoe hops, so it definitely has a nice piney, resiny, grapefruity, kind of citrusy thing going on. Kind of low in bitterness, so it's definitely a nice crushable beer, good for the ball games, Something different than like going and getting like a lager and something. At least you can get like something that has flavor to it, and it's not 7%, so it's not just like totally putting you out. You can crush them and chill out. But yeah, it's good. Actually, we just came out with merchandise yesterday, all official Major League Baseball. Yeah, and it's got the reflective baseball sticker on it. It's all like official, Major League stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Did a good job on them. So yeah, it's good beer.
All right, I think that's my next beer, and I'm gonna hand this over to Vince. Thanks so much.
Right on, bro. Yeah, thanks.
All right, Jason. We're going to get a little bit more personal and away from the brewing a little bit, but you started brewing here for a while now, and you studied brewing at SDSU, and you used to own or be a part owner at your own hop farm.
Yeah, so really, I guess I haven't really been brewing that long compared to everybody else, but I went for it, and I was growing hops a few years back, and did that for like 3 years, and then decided that I didn't want to become a farmer. So it's going to be like a full-time gig, and it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So I'd rather brew beer. And then SDS, I don't remember how I was trying to think about this and trying to get my sister involved in it too, but I couldn't remember how I actually came across the SDSU program. But yeah, it's a business of craft beer. They don't necessarily teach you how to brew, but they teach you the whole business and everything about beer. And man, let me tell you, I beefed up my resume on that, and then everybody started calling me for interviews, And I kind of just like skipped over to Ballast Point real quick. I got hired at Bolt Brewery, which was a really cool spot down in La Mesa. Worked there for a couple months, and then Ballast Point called me, and this is actually the spot I wanted to get into. I'm like, oh, well, that worked out. That worked out great. Yeah, been here ever since, and of course, because I brew beer, I started brewing beer over here in the back, and they like to keep the homebrew stuff alive. So I was brewing a lot back there. It took me a while to actually develop something that was worthy enough to be put on tap, but I eventually did. And now almost everything I brew gets thrown on the tap here. It's actually it's pretty awesome when I think about it. It's just like, yeah, I say 5 years ago I wasn't doing any of this stuff, and then now I got 2 beers right now up at Ballast Point, so that's freaking awesome.
All right, Jason, what do you think about bands and the trend of them having their own beers? I know Metallica has a new beer, and Iron Maiden has some beers. What do you think about that? And does Ballast Point have any plans for that, or what do you say?
Well, as far as Iron Maiden goes, they can do whatever they want and it'll be awesome. So yeah. As far as all the other bands having beers, I actually haven't tried the Metallica one. I know like someone had like a Pilsner out for a bit that was like the Wussy one or something. And then now they have the Metallica. I don't know if that's the same beer or what, but I haven't tried it. But I don't know. I mean, it's cool. Bands will put out beers, whatever. That's fine. I know Morphus has like a beer or something, or did he wine? I think they had a beer too. Gosh, who else has bands that beer? I can't think of any else right now. Oh, Megadeth actually has a beer. Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool. They weren't those guys. That's a pretty classic brewery right there. I've tasted a couple of the Iron Maiden ones. You can't really get any of them really here in the U.S. I have to like special order them. I've had I've only had the Trooper and their sour beer. Oh, you had that one? Yeah, jealous. I want to try that one. I had the sour beer, whatever one that was. Damn it. Yeah, it's it was good. English beer. I mean, so used to San Diego beers. Go anywhere else, and you're like, all right. But no, it was pretty good. Just classic English style beers. It just came out the new one, the Sun and Steel.
Yeah, there's a few out here I've never seen yet.
Yeah, so.
That's the one with sake?
Yeah, it's the sake, their yeast, the sake yeast in a lager beer. Yeah, I'm on the Iron Maiden news forum like every day, so I watch Bruce Dickinson open up the box and sample it. He's like saying his funny stuff as usual. He's got long hair again. Yeah. Awesome, I think it'd be classic if he just cut the bangs again. That would be awesome, dude.
So obviously, you're not just a fan of beer; you're also a fan of metal. And who are your favorite guitarists, your singers, bands? What are your favorites?
Of course, Iron Maiden for sure. I may have to cut this in a second. Of course, Iron Maiden for sure. And Bruce Dickinson, all those guys. I mean, those guys are like top tier. So anyone else, not as good. But of course, I've guitar players. I've always been like Frank Zappa, Steve Morse. I love Steve Morse, David Gilmour, and then all the Iron Maiden guys. Marty Friedman. Actually, I've been getting back into Marty Friedman lately. That guy freaking shreds, dude. I just saw the Yngwie Malmsteen show. I've always been into him, but damn, that guy, he's so good nowadays. Like, dude, that guy shreds. I wish I could do that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. It was funny, though, the show I saw, like, he wasn't even, like, doing as much as, like, the cool, crafty guitar work that I saw from the previous show. He was just on point with just shredding, I was just like, wow, shit, man, you're in your zone right now. Fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. No, I mean, I listen to all kinds of music, I mean, I love all the classic rock stuff and all those guitar players, and I like a lot of 80s metal. More along the lines of like the Megadeth. I mean, Megadeth, Metallica, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, that type of stuff, the classic stuff. When it comes to like more modern guys, I couldn't really tell you who my favorite guitar player is. I mean, I'm just really into like the older stuff,
Good answer.
Yeah. I mean, when Dio comes on, I'm like, yep, turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up. So, yeah, I don't know. All those guys are awesome. I wish I could go see Dio again. Actually, I'm going to see Maiden twice when they come, so that's going to be awesome. It's minimum 2 times every time Iron Maiden comes. Minimum 2 times. I know, I got to see them now. They're getting old. Nico's like 70 years old. Almost. Like 67 years old. Oh, my God. That's insane. Bruce, he's like 61, 62 or something like that, and the fact that he can still pull off some awesome singing after his throat cancer and all that stuff, like
some of those notes
dude.
maybe better than before. It's amazing.
Well, I can definitely tell he's been pushing himself a lot to like really get better, you know, because I've been seeing some videos from this last tour where I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he's sounding really good, you know. He's hitting some high notes, you know. Of course, when you become an old man, you know, you can't really do much of that anymore. But he's doing it gracefully, man. I think he's top notch, champion.
All right, you want to stop? You need to go back. All right. So, Jason, you're also a musician and played in different bands and your own solo bands and do some of your own shows and stuff around here. Can you talk about some of them, or what are their names? How can other people find them or listen to them or buy it?
So I mean, I've been in a lot of bands, mainly like metal bands and stuff. You know, I don't really do too much of that anymore at the moment, I guess. I was in a Pentago. It was like my last big metal band. Put out a couple albums. Didn't really do many shows. We were kind of like really underground. Really underground. The underest of the underground, you know. We did like 2 shows, put out 2 albums over a span of like 10 years or something. I don't know, but that was a fun band. And I was in Season of Decay before that. You know, that was a fun band too. We didn't really put out any like official releases really. Just like our little studio recordings, and went to Kinko's and like, you know, did the totally did the classic way of doing it, you know. And I've been playing music my whole life. Playing guitar like almost 30 years, I guess.
Yeah, Uncle Jason.
That's right, George. That was Sculpin George, by the way. He's one of the co-creators of Sculpin, so he's still around, you know. You still got the old school people here, you know. You come during the daytime, you see them all sitting around the corner. They claim that corner like no one touches.
So Metal Swap Meet 10th anniversary this year on October 19th, 2019. Wow, 19th on the 19th. Mm-hmm. We didn't plan that at all. It's going to be Saturday, October 19th, 11 to 5 p.m. as always at Setting Sun Sake in Miramar in the Mirilani Makers District, right? A lot of breweries, a lot of cool places there, restaurants, all kinds of good stuff that's going on. Vendor sign up at metalswapme.com. You can also visit our Facebook page. Should have about 50 vendors there that day, maybe more. We're looking at room space and all that stuff. Full Metal Burgers will be joining us again as last time. Those are good burgers. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you about that. Overall in that area, there's about 10 breweries. We got Sake Brewery, which is Setting Sun, our main sponsor. Mm. There's wine, there's mead, there's cider, all kinds of good stuff there within the venue. Yep. As far as Metal Swap Meet, if for some of you who might not know what the Metal Swap Meet is, can you tell us a little bit more about that, Parker? How we got this going?
Yeah, Metal Swap Meet. Kind of had the idea because I used to work at a record store and specialized in metal, so it was a lot of kind of a meeting place for some people.
That's where we met.
Yep. Yeah. So after that kind of closed down, we wanted to come up with some other idea where that kind of atmosphere can be recreated. You know, not every day, but at least once a year. So the first one we did over 10 years ago, and it was in my driveway.
Right outside.
Yep. Right outside here. And I think we had about a dozen or so vendors and over 200 people. So we knew that this was something that people wanted. Yeah. So we moved into a proper venue after that. And now we're on our 10th one. And Vince is one of the people that's been a vendor since day one. And how's that been for you?
It's always been a good turnout and a good crowd, and I think the best part is seeing all the people's faces smiling and getting along together and hanging out and talking and just having a good time and going home with some good music and just enjoying themselves. And overall, it's just a good atmosphere and people dig it.
Yeah. one of the more surprising aspects of that is that when normally when outside people see a swarm of folks clad in all black and long hairs and listen to really loud music, they think it's going to be chaos, but it's always been one of the most peaceful places I've ever been at. Aside from the loud music and everything, everybody's always behaved, and it's one of the more exciting events that the crowd looks forward to every year. I think family oriented as well. You can bring little ones as well, and it is one of those events that I think has caught on with the heavy metal and hard rock fans of San Diego, and they love coming out, which is, I mean, for us it's really been a real big surprise that many people really cared about metal that much that they would come in and support this event, and for us it's always an exciting time. We have vendors who have shirts, posters, art, taxidermy of all places, right? I mean, that's kind of a weird thing for some people, but
yeah. Brandy always brings taxidermy.
A lot of cool, interesting, things that she brings. We have ladies' clothing, metal desserts. Some of the folks from I can't remember the name, but they bring the metal desserts and they're awesome. Jewelry, drinking horns, all kinds of stuff that makes it a very, very unique event. Probably the only type of event of its kind in Southern California for sure. And we are celebrating the 10th anniversary this time around. We're going to have some surprises this year, I think. We're bringing the band back. We're trying to work on that, right? We're trying to get that going.
Yeah, get permitting and stuff.
Get permitting in San Diego. For those of you who don't live here, who don't know how the city works, it is not easy. So we're trying to get that going again so we can have live music again. And we're trying to make it a very special event, especially for the 10th anniversary. Obviously, we didn't think it was going to get past the first one here in the front yard with the cops, driving by and looking at what was going on, and a couple hundred people kind of hanging out in the front yard. But we have been very fortunate that the community has been cool enough to support this, and some of the big names that are like Ale Smith and Setting Sun Sake, who's been behind us. Some of the breweries who've been with us, like Lagunitas Brewing Company beforehand, and all that. So we've been very lucky that we have some folks out there who are fans of metal who have supported this in the long run, and folks like Vince who's been a vendor for such a long time, and we have several vendors who've been with us since day one, and it's very cool to have people like you kind of jumping on this and supporting this since the beginning.
Thanks, V.
Yeah, no, it's a real good event, and it's good to see a lot of people go there. Like I said, everyone's in a good mood. Everyone leaves and no drama. Everyone's having a good time, and pick up some cool shirts or vinyl, cassettes, all kinds of stuff. And also the guys have had some good bands there and some guest DJs. And you guys talk about that?
Yeah, I think DJ Caton was there a couple years ago, who's from Hyrex. We've had Cattle Decapitation play there before, Violent Vomit, which was Disgorge, the American Disgorge. Exhumed played there a couple years ago, which was just fucking insane at the Queen Bees. It was just nuts. It was great. A lot of great tribute bands like Slatanic from Los Angeles.
Jag Panzer, you guys had even?
Jag Panzer.
Yeah.
That was my dream. For me, that was the best one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but Jag Panzer was just like the best.
Yeah, hard to get better than that.
Right. So I think so far, what has been your favorite year, Brian?
The Jag Panzer year, by far.
Jag Panzer year.
Yeah. It was our biggest year. We had it downtown, big stage, the most professional setup we've ever had. I mean, it was kind of the hardest one to organize and the most expensive, but it was so worth it.
Definitely. I think, and it was a cool thing to have. Phil Ensemble came down with the guys from Superjoint Ritual. They did a signing, which we were just really, really not expecting. Really cool that Shannon and the folks from Brick by Brick had that going. They played the after party. We also had Dawn of the Dead from Non-Slaughter come down and do a signing.
We've had Derek Riggs there a couple times.
Absolutely, yeah. Our friend Derek Riggs, the guy who invented Eddie for Iron Maiden, has been to the Swamp Meet several times, and we really appreciate him.
Bill Metoyer.
Bill Matoya, yes. Bill Matoya, awesome producer. He was there hanging out.
Don Dottie
from Dark Angel, who was there. And it was a good year. I mean,
It was good.
It was. We kind of did ourselves. Unfortunately, the venue is no longer available. It's gone. I think it's a parking lot now, or it's
and they moved to a much smaller place.
They did move to a smaller place. So, the cool thing about us is that the swap meet has been growing. Every year, it's been getting bigger. So, for us, for those of you who went last year at the new location, we have expanded a bit, and this year we will expand again. And it is one of those things that. As long as the folks keep coming and they keep, asking for it, we'll keep doing it and we'll keep expanding as much as we can. I think we haven't reached the top yet. I think we have a lot to go, a lot of stuff to go.
Who knows? Yeah.
As long as everybody keeps supporting it, and for us, it's always a riot. It's always fun. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work, as. Brian can attest to. It's a lot of work to get this done, and we just thank everybody for keeping it going, to keeping it alive. Because if it wasn't for the folks that keep coming and keep supporting metal, none of this is definitely possible. I think we all agree that it is something very special that we want to keep going.
Yeah, people seem to like it, and if people still keep coming out, we're just gonna keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even if it's just back to the
driveway,
we'll keep it going in some way or another. Yeah. For any of you who haven't checked this out, definitely come out October 19th. We'll be keeping you updated at sdmetal.com. We also have our Facebook page,
sdmetalswapmeet.com.
sdmetalswapmeet.
No, sorry, metalswapmeet.com. Get it right one of these days.
Yeah, eventually we'll get it right. Metalswapmeet.com. We also have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/metalswapmeet, SD Metal Swap Meet. If you type Metal Swap Meet on Facebook, you'll find us there.
Pretty much anywhere. Yeah.
Anywhere.
Just type Metal Swap Meet into Google.
Yeah, we're pretty much it. Yeah. On YouTube, if you want to check out what it's all about, you want to see visuals of it, we have a lot of cool videos on there. And we're also on Instagram now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very modern for me. I don't know much about Instagram, but
it gets updated about once a month.
Yeah. With the important stuff only, right?
Right, yeah.
We're not going to spam you. We're not going to fluff you up. In Facebook and Instagram. Keep it updated. We'll be doing this as much as possible. And, thank you guys for paying attention to this. Hope you enjoy it. We will keep you filled with as much metal as we can, and with more shows, interviews, and lots more to come with the Metal Swap Talk. And for Brian, Vince, and I, we'll see you next time. We'll see you in the pit.
Thanks.
Yeah.